Yo, 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 what it is, what it was, what's it gonna be?
Welcome.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Gen Expertise Podcast, episode 39, strictly for the ladies. We are your hosts, Main and Rants, aka
Welcome.
two old men in a podcast, yo. You know what I'm saying? I had to say that kind of provocative. You're strictly for the ladies.
You gotta say it with a deep. You gotta go deeper with your voice.
I
Though.
know. I should have let you say it, yo. Yeah, I think
Strictly
about
for
it.
the ladies.
There you go. You got more of a radio friendly voice than I do. What's up, my brother?
I'm good, man. How's everything?
Everything is good, but before we even start,
What's that?
you see my man has the New York Knicks cap on. My man is wearing the Knicks hat today.
Had to get
Switching
on
up
that
from the Yankees.
bandwagon.
Got to jump on it, son.
You know, I had to jump on that bandwagon.
At the time of this taping, we have swept the Philadelphia 76ers. Shout out to my peoples out there in Philly. No disrespect. But we swept them. We got that 30-point Game 4 sweep of the Philadelphia 76ers. New York was in the building, outside of the building, around the building, on top of the building. Chopped cheese over cheesesteaks. You know what I'm saying? All of that, son.
I like that. Chopped cheese over cheesesteaks. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so we back in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have to say that because I'm a New York Knicks diehard fan to the bone. You know, they break my heart every year, but I keep coming back for more. I know they might break my heart, but I love them too much, son. So shout out to my Knicks. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Appreciate it. Jalen Brunson, Cat, all you boys, Bridges, OG, Mitch, y'all did your thug thizzle.
Absolutely. You know me, I'm just a fan of all things New York. I'm not even really a sports fan, to be honest.
Yeah, especially when we're winning.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm a fan of all things New York, especially if we're winning.
Yeah, especially if we win it. The hats, he got the hats lined up, son. You know what I'm saying? He got whatever season who's winning, he got the Jets. It's a Jets, it's a Mets, it's a Yanks, it's a whatever, yo.
Wait till the Rangers start winning something. I'm
Maine is a fanatic mercenary for hire, B.
But only for New York, though. Anything New York.
Yeah, that's it. Only for the Knicks, yo. So shout out to my Knicks. Hopefully, you know, we always say maybe next year, maybe this year is finally next year. So we'll see. We have still got another round to get through. Hopefully we can get through there. We can take it to the chip.
Yeah.
And who knows, son? You know what I mean? That Timberland boot might have a little extra glitter on it this year.
That would be crazy. I can't even imagine New York if the Knicks win a chip.
They will tear the city apart.
Son. I think so. I think it would probably be dangerous out there. You probably want to be home watching that one.
I can't even lie, bro. I can't. I don't know what I'm gonna do, son. After I stop crying, you know what I'm saying? After the tears come down, son, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might just run the streets like Frank the Tank, B.
I wonder how crazy it would be in Manhattan, especially.
Oh, it's gonna be wild.
Over there, 34th, by the Garden, especially, it would be pandemonium.
Yo, crazy, son, crazy.
Well, let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, we can at least get to the championship this year. And happy days are here again, son. We haven't won. I don't think we've won a chip since '73. Neither one of us was born.
Not in our lifetime.
Yeah, we came real close in '94. But John Starks wants to go 2 for 14. But you know what I'm saying? That's a whole different story. We love John Starks, but he shot us out of that. But you know, we went back in '99, but we were ill prepared to win. So, you know, this hopefully we can get there, man. You know, blue skies are here again, son.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Yeah, man. But strictly for the ladies. So at the taping of this, it is still Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to the ladies out there. Happy Mother's Day to everyone that's listening. All of these ladies out there. You know, after all, we are the sons of a woman. We are the husbands of women. We are the fathers of women. I'm the brother of a woman. We're grandsons of women. We're male cousins of women. We got some skin and stake in the game too. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and all the mother figures out there as well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's very important. All of those mothers that are stepping in as mothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doing those jobs. So we appreciate you. Thank you. We got a little episode for you guys today. It's only right. Disclaimer, we are two men.
In case you were wondering, does it? I think you better elaborate on the disclaimer because I
You
feel like
know, we
we're
are two
insulting
men.
people's intelligence
No,
with
because
that
you
one.
know, sometimes the women don't always want us speaking about them or for them. So we gotta put that disclaimer out there. Give us some grace. Give us
Oh, I
some
got you. I
grace.
got you. I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Give us
this
some
is
grace.
strictly like almost like a ode or like a tribute or homage, if you will. It's not like
Yes,
don't think of it as us speaking on their behalf or jumping in on things that we have no business. Think of it
that's
as a
right.
homage.
That's right. That's right, because
Yeah.
couches are very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. My wife is definitely listening to this. My mother listens to this.
Yes,
So
my
I
mother listens to this as
gotta be
well. My
extra.
wife listens to us.
Gotta make
So we
sure,
love you.
it's appropriate. Yeah, absolutely.
We love you. So today we're just going to talk about some things. It's kind of like when we went back to our earlier episode when we were just giving facts and figures about the men.
Sure.
So we're just going to talk about some things on the female side, some things that we see, some things we appreciate, some things that we notice, and just some general facts.
Yeah.
Um, One
And
thing that I
honestly,
do.
and
Go
let
ahead.
me
I'm sorry.
stop you, Riz. I might
Hmm.
be wrong about this, but I don't think women like being referred to as females nowadays. Like
No.
I don't I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Uh huh.
But yeah, I just want to mention that. I'm not going to be referring to women as females. For some reason I don't think that's appropriate anymore,
Yeah, it was kind of like a catcall of the '90s, right?
I don't know, man. I just feel like it refers to it's not it's kind of dehumanizing a little bit. Like we're men and they're women.
Yes.
So I don't know. I
I
think we
guess
need
I
to
guess you're right. I think it's like
we
they'll
gotta
be
look
calling the males. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like it kind of dehumanizes people a little bit when you refer to them in that way, I think. I would have to look it up to get more into detail, but I think it's a little bit outdated for me
Mm,
to call them females. It sounds, sounds a little bit
like
misogynist, I
'90s
guess.
rap.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like 90s rap. Yeah. So,
All right then, ladies and women and significant others.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, of
safe.
course.
All
Yeah, that's
right.
it.
Well, there you go. So we'll be talking about some things today, and one of the things I do want to start off with though is because we're big on health as well, and I'm especially big on health. Like some of the health stats that are out there that I came across as I was researching the ladies.
Right.
So, and one of the
Look,
things that I I can't say that I didn't realize. Like I feel like I've always known this,
right.
um, but I came across it again. Is that heart disease is the number one killer of women, and they say 1 in 5 women will die of heart disease, and more women die of heart disease than all cancers combined.
So that second part I didn't know, but I did know about the heart disease being the number one.
Hmm.
Um, it's interesting, man, because we talked about this with the men before. Like you said in the earlier episode, we talked about like kind of like the top 4 or 5 things that men are more likely to die from, and it feels like
Hmm.
it's women are not that far off.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's an interesting one. I didn't know that it was kind of it was above all the cancers,
Yeah.
in terms of numbers. I had no idea
Hmm.
about that, so that's an interesting
Yeah.
one.
Especially once you get up to 45 to 65, like it really ramps up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But and also in men, just in general, because I always say we all have to go from something. Either your heart goes out or you get some type of disease or sickness or something. But once they get to the age of 45 to 65, the risk goes up. So 1 in 5 women out there, heart disease is the number one killer. If you would probably just stop anybody random off the street, they would probably think like it would be breast cancer or something. I would assume,
Yeah.
just any random person off the street, they would assume that. But heart
Yeah.
health,
It
hmm
feels like heart health is more associated with men, to be honest, just like anecdotally,
yeah,
right? Like, so, like you said, if I was to stop somebody or somebody stopped me in the street, right? Like, I think I would be more likely to say breast cancer or something like that because it feels like that is more talked about, when it comes to
hmm
women's health. And also when it comes to heart disease, people talk about that a lot more when it
hmm
comes to men's health. Heart health seems to be like, at the forefront when it comes to
hmm
men's health.
yeah, that was crazy. And then I have some more stats where women are 2 times more likely to experience depression. Uh, 41.3% of women aged 20 and up uh, are considered obese. So that's a BMI, a body mass index of 30 plus. 44.6% of women 18 and above suffer from hypertension, which would explain the high risk of heart failure, 1 to 5, when they start experience hypertension at such an early age. And 28% of women in general report high stress.
Mhm.
Health wise, that is tough.
This is interesting. So this is also interesting because we talked about this a little bit before. Women tend to be the ones to kind of push men to go to the doctor,
Yes.
and these stats don't exactly align with a person that has that type of concern. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
maybe it's that women tend to be the kind of the caregivers and the nurturers and the person that's like so busy worried about other people. And this
Yeah.
and I guess this is kind of a stereotype, I guess, but I feel like it's a positive stereotype if there can be one. But it feels like even in my
Mhm.
experience, women are more likely to be the people to push you to take care of yourself and to be the ones that are caring
Yes.
for everybody in the family. Like, right, like your mom is more likely to be the person that's kind of taking care of all the appointments for the kids,
Yeah.
making sure that their husband is going to the doctor and stuff like that, right? Making sure that they
Mhm.
call the doctor, making sure they're following up. If you have any tests coming up or if you have any results that you're waiting for, they
Yeah.
seem to be the ones that are more diligent about that type of thing. So it's kind
Mhm.
of surprising sometimes when you hear the stats on their own health. But
Mhm.
I guess it makes sense when you kind of correlate the fact that they are the caregivers and nurturers of everybody else, that
Yeah.
that could lead to a problem where you're not really taking care of yourself the way you should be, right? Like you're ignoring your own needs because you're so busy worried about other people's needs, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And when like having 2 very small children,
mhm.
myself, you really see it. Like one of the things that you take for granted, and I've heard this from a lot of women who have like multiple children at close in age, especially when they're younger. One of the big things is that just being able to eat a hot meal. So they're so busy, like they're making food for everybody. Everybody eats, and by the time they get to their plate, the food is cold. They're the ones up at night majority of the time with the babies, making sure that everybody gets to school, making sure everybody's fed, making sure that their significant other and their husbands are going to the doctor and taking care of themselves, that sometimes they neglect their own health and wellness. And in my line of work, usually as a personal trainer, if I work with a male, 7 times out of 70% of the time, I'm hired by their wife or their girlfriend.
That's actually not that surprising, right?
Yeah.
Let me talk to. I'm going to interrupt you for a second to talk about a couple of stats that I see, right?
Mhm.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is married men and the how marriage actually impacts their health, right? And I don't want to make this about men, but it's
Yeah.
really not about men. It kind of is, but indirectly, it's really about women and their impact on men, and then
Yeah.
how that might lead to what we're talking about in terms of like them, or not taking as good a care of themselves. But listen
Yeah.
to this
That
about
was the that
marriage,
was the
right?
disclaimer. See, that's why I threw the disclaimer in the front, because 'cause we're men, so give us some grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Nah, but no, but this shows how women are basically saving men's lives, literally.
Mhm.
So it says longer life expectancy is one of the effects of being married, right? Like, so married men tend to live longer than unmarried men. Studies often show lower rates of premature death among married men. Researchers believe this is tied to more consistent healthcare use, better social support, lower rates of risky behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and more stable routines and finances. Marriage is also associated with lower rates of heart disease, faster recovery after illness or surgery, lower rates of substance abuse, better sleep and nutrition in many cases.
Mm-hmm.
Men in stable marriages are also more likely to go to the doctor, take medications consistently, catch health issues early.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the mental health effects are women are supportive to men in terms of depression and preventing loneliness, chronic stress, and suicide risk. So those are just a couple of stats, like, but it kind of bolsters like what we're talking about here, where
Mm-hmm.
women are kind of the not kind of, but they're basically saving everybody else,
Yeah.
and sometimes at the detriment of their own health, right? Because we've all seen it. Like you've probably seen it in your mom, not just your wife with your
Mm-hmm.
two kids, but you've probably seen your mom do the same thing. I've seen my mother do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen my wife do the same thing, where they kind of neglect themselves in the name of kind of taking care of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Sure that there's plenty of guys out there with similar examples where they've seen women do this, right? Like they're paying so much attention to what everybody else is doing in terms of health and taking care of their own lives and their own business, that
Mm-hmm.
women have a tendency to kind of forget about themselves. But the stats show, like, men are less likely to die if they have a woman in the house living with them,
Yeah.
and because when I look at stats on marriage, I also count that as stats on, like, just living together. You don't have to be like officially married to have that same benefit. Like if a woman is living
Mm-hmm.
with you, if you're living with your girlfriend for multiple years, I'm sure that that woman is the person that kind of pushes you to go to the doctor when you may forget, or pushes you to take some medicine that you might have forgotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Women also have a tendency to be the people that kind of arrange your social life too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because men have a tendency, they don't care. Like men will just sit in the house by themselves or play video games or read a book or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be. But women have a tendency to even worry about your mental health in that way too, where they'll make arrangements for you to go out more or for you to hang out with friends and stuff like that, right? Sometimes they'll call your friends and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we got to get out, we got to get together,"
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that their man or their husband goes out, right? Just to make sure that you're keeping those connections that you may forget, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys are very, very important. Big up yourselves, yo. You know what I'm saying? We're bigging you up too. But unfortunately, they're neglecting themselves at the same time. So
Sure.
if you're married, you have a significant other, these are things to think about, realize just how much they have on their plate and how much they are carrying as well. I'm gonna be honest though. I don't fear much in life, yo. And
Mhm.
I'm not trying to be tough or anything. But when my wife tells me, yo, I'm going out watch the kids and I gotta be by myself.
That's a scary thought.
It's a scary thought, man. It's when you coming back? You gonna be going long? And then
It's
and
been
then
an hour.
since you've been gone. And that's
Uh,
too long to come back home.
that's
You know what I'm
shout out to
saying?
Jodeci, but not for nothing. That song might be about a dad that's home with the
Yo,
kids.
stuck with a toddler to do, yo, two toddlers?
Baby, I'm begging.
Yo, I'm begging. Then I watch how she just like maneuvers around her day to day with the kids. And I'm like, yo,
Yo, I'm sorry, Riz.
I'm
But
scared.
think about this Jodeci song for a second. Let's hold on a second. Let's
Yeah.
quick,
Let's retract on this.
a quick tangent. In that song, he's like, "It's been an hour since you've been gone, and that's too long. So come back home." That sounds like a man left at home with the kids, right?
Yeah, son, that's
That
me.
doesn't sound like just regular, like like a couple with no kids,
That's a
because
panic
she's only
button.
gone for an hour. But if
Hmm.
she leaves for an hour and I got the kids with me by myself, that is like, oh, it's been an hour. Since you've been gone, that's too long. Come back home. That sounds like more like, right? Yo, give that
Yo,
some thought,
that's
everybody.
me.
Give that some thought. Like, rethink that whole Jodeci song for me. Anyway.
That's me at home, son. You can't do anything. I am shook. But they just, they're just able to just maneuver around it. and now I wonder. I realize why the stress levels are up, the depression rises, and the heart starts to murmur a little bit, and the blood pressure goes up. You know, the
Right.
lack of
The
sleep,
cortisol levels
the
go
cortisol.
your
You know,
cortisol levels are up. Your stress hormone
oh
is
my
high.
goodness, oh my goodness. You know, so and then who's the one that always like worries about you, especially as men. If I was out too late, it was my mother that was worrying about me. Your father's like, oh, he'll be all right. He'll be
That's
all
a
right. He'll be
it's
back home.
it's funny, man. I had this conversation one time with Aaron. For those that don't know, Aaron Garris does our music, right? Like, so if
Yeah.
you hear the intro and outro music, that's done by a friend of ours, Aaron Garris, right? Like, so a long time ago, him and I had this conversation, and we were talking about, for some reason we were talking about mothers, right? Like, and this conversation repeats in my head every once in a while, because he always said, like, your mother's the only person, no matter what you do, pretty much, she's gonna love you unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And you, even if you told her to, go ahead with yourself, she's still
Yeah.
gonna love you, and she's still gonna take you back. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure that there's like individual circumstances where people could say that I'm wrong on this, right? Like, maybe I'm overgeneralizing, but for the most part, your mother's the person that's gonna love you unconditionally. She's the woman that's gonna be really in your corner. And
Mm-hmm.
Aaron used to joke, he was like, "Yo, you could damn near, off somebody, and she'll she'll hide you in the house."
Yep.
It's and tell
She'll
her
hide you
how
in the
she hasn't
linen
seen
closet.
you. She'll let you hide out at her house, and you could be whatever age, and she'll tell the
Uh-huh.
police she ain't seen you. So I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Your mother's the only person that really, really, really has that love, that unconditional love for you. There's nothing like love between a mother and child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, like I'm sure that there's individual circumstances. Like I know for a fact there are, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying that in a general sense, mothers are the ones that are really going to be in your corner, and seem to have the most what I could call the closest thing that I've seen to unconditional love. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your father will be like, boy, you better go out there and face the music. It's the time. You do the cry.
Yeah,
Don't be
yeah.
bringing
You
no
do.
trouble.
Yeah,
Don't
you
be
did the
bringing no
cry. You
trouble
did
to
the.
my house. Don't you be bringing no trouble to my house, boy. You know what I'm saying? You man enough to do it. You man enough to face the consequences. See your mother be like, no, not my baby. Not my baby.
and
You know?
and again, like I know we're overgeneralizing because I know that there's some dads out there that feel the same, that feel that same
Uh-huh.
like unconditional love. Of course there are, but I'm just saying, like in general, we're we're generalizing. I just want to put that out there. I know we're overgeneralizing,
Yes, man. So we
but this is
so
strictly for the
ladies,
ladies.
strictly for the ladies. Here you
Are we pandering right now? Are we pandering?
I think so.
All right. All right.
So since I did do the health stats, I wanted to go over something else that's healthy for the women, which I came across because I'm a big sports and a big health and wellness fan. Sports in general for women improves confidence, improves self-esteem, lowers rates of depression, improves academic performance, develops leadership skills, significantly reduces the risk of long-term health issues like breast cancer and osteoporosis. And I got that from the women'sinsport.org. Also, 80% of female Fortune 5 CEOs played youth sports. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I know women always like talk about self-care and they go to the spa or they go, just to get a massage or some peaceful time, which is also good, but you also have to the gym, exercise, find something outside of the house to do. Men will go and we'll join. There'll be like basketball leagues and stuff. We'll join. We'll join like an old touch football league or something. But if you're athletic, stay athletic. Find something to keep yourself busy, something for you, and then you can go to the spa afterwards and get that massage. But the fact that 80% of female Fortune 500 CEOs played youth sport was was staggering to me, especially since I think only 10% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women.
Right, right. And I was just about to speak on that too, like a little bit
Yeah.
when you just said that, because it just sparked me to immediately talk about kind of how there's still a disparity in work environments, corporate
Mhm.
environments where women are paid a little less than men.
Yes.
Like you said, there's way less women in C-suite and executive roles than there should be when you account for like education levels and experience, stuff like that. So yeah, you just sparked me to think about that when you even mentioned that the CEOs of Fortune 500s.
Mhm.
There's still a disparity there.
Yeah, yeah. And when you talk about education, since we went to the education, have earned more bachelor's degrees than men since the 1980s.
Mm.
Yes. And as of 2024, 40% of US women have completed 4+ years of college compared to 37% of men.
So why do you think that is? If you had to guess,
I think that females are more focused, to be honest.
women or females?
Women. I feel women are more focused, especially when it comes to education, because also from grades K through 12, I wrote this down too. Girls outperform boys in reading and writing, with girls being a full grade level ahead by the end of the 8th grade. So I just in general, I think because there aren't a lot of resources for women as an early age, especially as I go back to sports. Young girls drop out of sports twice as fast as young boys do.
Uh-huh.
And I think that also has something to do with there wasn't always a lot of pathways once they played sports.
Right,
So like a kid can grow up and dream of being a baseball player. He can dream of being a football player. He can dream of being professional basketball player. He can dream of doing all of this. But there hasn't always been these leagues for women. So I think just in general, as well as being focused on just taking care of home, I
uh-huh,
think there was also just an emphasis on education because education was the key to get where you wanted to go. Like, okay, you can use sport to get into college and get a scholarship, but what are you going to do after that? For years, there was no WNBA here. The
right,
WNBA is only like 25 years old. Women would have to go and play overseas, and the money wasn't always great. They weren't. They just started a women's professional baseball league this past year, and then this is the inaugural year. And I don't know if you remember the young girl who played baseball in the boys' college World Series, Monet Davis, I believe.
yeah. I do remember. Yes.
Yeah, she's in her 20s now. She was one of the first draft picks. She's playing for a
Wow.
LA-based team. So there's all these
Amazing.
being an entrepreneur right now. So I think that in the future, especially now, because like I said, there's a professional women's basketball league, there's a professional
Uh-huh.
soccer league, I think there's a lacrosse league, there's a baseball league. There's women's tennis, there's all types of leagues and stuff where it was just basically like women's tennis back in the day, where you can play and come up through the ranks. I think
Right,
that has a lot to do with it. So they were pushed
right.
more towards the education, where boys get a little bit more room to daydream.
Interesting.
We want to be a pro athlete, or
Uh-huh.
I think we're just all over the place, and girls
Right,
seem to be more focused, and that focus goes from girls to women.
right. So yeah, I'm thinking something similar to what you were thinking about, but more along the lines of like when I think of why women are getting degrees at a higher rate and stuff like
Mhm,
that, I feel they're aware, right, of the disparities in the opportunities that they would have after they finish school, right? Like
mhm,
so we talked a little bit about the disparity in the amount of executive roles or C-suite roles
mhm,
that women tend to occupy as opposed to men. And I feel like, corporate environments and work environments in general are a little more kind of friendly, so to speak, or inviting to men as well. Like you said, like the same it's kind of parallel to what you're saying, right? Because there's a whole lot more opportunities in sports for men than there are for
mhm.
women, right? And so that's opening up a lot, like you said. There's
Yeah.
more leagues opening up for women than there were in the past, and so there's
Mhm,
obviously more opportunities for them to become professional athletes at this point.
mhm,
But even as we say that, they're still facing the same challenges in the work environment, especially in corporate environments where it's highly competitive and men still dominate, right? So,
yes.
so education for any so-called like kind of protected status group or out group, you know, education is kind of the great equalizer to a certain extent, right? So I think you learn early that the only way to kind of give yourself the edge is to make sure you have that degree. You can't afford to leave it to chance or to leave it up to a favor or some networking opportunity. You have to have the credentials as well as all the other goods. You have to have the network as well as the education, as well as the credential, as well as the degree and the certificate and so on and so on and so on, right? So
Mhm.
I feel women have learned that they need these things in order to give them the edge because there's such a disparity in their opportunities when it comes to the workplace, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of something where they've learned to kind of outwork and outcompete their male counterparts, at least in
Mhm.
that way. So as to make sure that they don't leave anything to chance when it comes to like competing in the workforce, right?
Yeah.
So it's just something to think
Yeah,
about.
to give themselves a chance, it's almost like their A has to be better than our D type of thing or our
Yeah,
C. You know
yeah.
what I
To a
mean?
certain extent, yes. Like they have to be, you know,
Yeah,
leaving nothing to chance, right? Like they have to have
nothing to
all
chance.
the boxes checked.
Yeah,
Whereas, like we said, like a man may get some leeway, right? Like the same as
yeah.
like you said, like a man may get a chance to daydream when it
Mhm,
comes to like opportunities in sports. Like they get a little more time to dream.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
think in the same way, men are getting a little more leeway when it comes to the workforce, right?
yeah,
Because oftentimes like there's a lot of male dominated fields when it comes to even especially I should say kind of the higher paying jobs where you
yeah,
have male dominated fields where men are going to kind of give each other the edge
yeah,
regardless of education levels, regardless of experience levels when it comes to their counterparts who may be women, right?
yeah. And since most men are dominating, especially in the CEOs and the Fortune 500s, that leaves the door wide open to cronyism and nepotism.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, um, also, if you're, I would assume if you're a woman who's a CEO of one of these Fortune 500 companies, it's a very small margin. You can't afford to make a mistake on a hire if you hire
Right.
another woman. You know, a man, you can make a mistake and then it's just on to, I'll just hire my buddy or this guy or that guy, whatever. You know, he was doing this and then he came back, he decided he was, so I'll give him a job, I'll give him a chance. Um, as a woman, if you're in these high ranking positions, you can't afford any leeway of making a mistake on a hire because you know if you do, you hire somebody who may not be as qualified or doesn't do a good job, you know that may be the last opportunity that you are allowed, so to speak, to hire another woman in that position. So they have to constantly be on point.
Right. Yeah, right. And
You know?
I feel like it, and I feel like again, like that's probably the case for anybody in kind of a protected status group, right? Like anybody
Yes.
considered like a quote unquote minority in an environment like that. They're gonna feel like they don't have a lot of leeway. They don't have a lot of people giving them the benefit of the doubt. So a mistake is glaring when it happens. But yeah, I agree, man. I think like you said, like when you have a misstep, it's going to get amplified and probably attributed to their status as opposed to attributed to like just growing like people
Yeah.
right, everybody's going to make mistakes in these environments, right? It's part of
Yeah.
learning and it's part of your growth process, right? But I feel like those mistakes get amplified as opposed to the good qualities or the wins sometimes.
Yeah. And as fathers of daughters, it's very important for us to do our part in nurturing them to know that they are strong, they are smart, they are beautiful, giving them every opportunity to succeed, whether it be exposing them to every kind of sport that they can expose to, and then taking them to the library, making sure that they get their schoolwork done, they have a focus. It's important. It's important as a man to do your part and to help your daughters out because we're the example that they're looking for. And you have to give them this confidence to go out into the world and fight for what they want. Women are the most intelligent people on this planet. They far exceed us in terms of intelligence.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But
Right.
they don't always get the opportunity because
Right.
it's a male dominated field, it's a male dominated world, so to speak, even though overall we are in the minority.
And well, that's the irony of this. But like
Yeah.
you said, like even when I think about my own daughter, right? I'm not only supportive of her in that way that you described, right? Like where I'm trying to bolster her confidence and make sure that she understands that she can do whatever she puts her mind to, and if she puts in the work and all
Mhm.
that. But I'm also realistic with her in terms of letting her know that excellence is not an option. Like you really have to do your
Yes.
best and put your best foot forward and try, try everything you can to be successful because of the fact that like we were saying before, you're not going to have the edge, right? So you have to
Mhm.
give yourself an edge by being excellent, right? Like you can't leave anything to chance. I stress that with her too, that not maybe not in those words, like in it, because I try to make sure that when my message to her is age appropriate and that she can consume it and stay in a positive kind of light. But I do make sure that I'm kind of stressing to her that your academics are
Yeah.
extremely important. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, hey, trust me on this. like,
Mhm.
like I'm going to into like a lot of detail, like I said, because maybe it's not all age appropriate, and maybe it will take her a while to kind
Yeah.
of digest some of my thoughts on this. But some of it has to be like, hey, trust me. Like education is extremely important
Mhm.
because I know for a fact that that's going to be one of the things that does give her any type of edge if she's going to have one. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like it's important for us to kind of build their confidence and make sure that
Mhm.
they understand that they're supported in every way, right?
Yeah. Yo, show them every path there is. Lay it all out there.
Sure, the exposure, yeah, the
The
exposure that you
exposure.
mentioned is important too. Like exposing them to different pathways, exposing them to different experiences.
Mhm.
That's also going to be. I think that's another way to provide an edge as well. If you have a
Yeah.
well-rounded experience, um, it it's only going to grow you as a person. It's going to make you a better person, more experiences, more knowledge,
Mhm.
um, and more kind of common ground too with with people that you might meet out there in the field.
Yeah, because I owe one thing with my mother. Like I'm gonna give her props now. A lot of the things that I was exposed to was because of my mother.
Mm,
You know, like if there was a museum or something, or she
mm.
would take me to the aquariums, or she would take, you know what I mean? She was the one taking me out on long trips, and I was and seeing around the city and taking me to other boroughs and exposing me to um all type of experiences that forged me kind of as a man. You
She
know what
didn't
I'm
take you to.
saying?
Did she take you to Brooklyn
Yeah, she
in
took me
the
all the way out
'80s?
to
In the
Brooklyn in
in
the
the
'80s,
'80s?
son. In the
Oh man.
'80s, bro. She took
Uh,
me out to Brooklyn. I believe she took me out to the aquarium out in Brooklyn in the '80s, son,
oh
by
wow.
herself. Dolo with just me, you know? Um, and there was never anything that it was never anything that she told me that I couldn't do. My father has always been there. We're both blessed. We always talk about our fathers, you know what I'm saying? But my mother was always there, like pushing me and reinforcing and telling me that there's nothing that I couldn't do. And she was making sure that I got to see everything that everybody else got to see,
Yeah.
you know?
And
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 that's the big thing.
yeah, and I can say the same for my mother, man. Like most of the things that I was exposed to that were kind of off the beaten path, so to speak,
Mhm.
because my mother would find that type of experience and kind of try to make sure that I at least got to try it, even if I didn't like it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I would say about my mother is that she was always my biggest fan.
Hmm.
Was always like super impressed,
Yeah.
and 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 sometimes I can see how that could be a bad thing sometimes where like you're impressed with even the things that your kid is supposed to do, so they get this idea that everything should be celebrated. But
Hmm.
but in my case, it made me the type of person that wanted to keep making her proud, right? Like I wanted to keep making, impressing her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like so even if it was things that I was really supposed to be doing, like getting good grades at school and stuff like that, or you
Yeah.
know, even when I got my first job, she was always, like, super proud, like, beaming at the
Mhm.
thing that sometimes I felt like, "Oh, this is just what I'm supposed to do," but at the same time, it gave me a good feeling, so I would just keep doing what I'm supposed to do, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
that
They're
kept
the
that kept me
nurturers, man.
yeah, I think that was one of the things that kept me, um, kind of on a straight and narrow path, so to speak. There's temptations out there, like, growing up where we grew up, there's a lot of detours that you could take But I had talked about this before, was wanted to make my parents proud, man, especially my mother. She was really impressed with me, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep that same good feeling going for as long as I could. So I felt like that was one of the things that kept me going on a good path, right?
Yeah. That's my
So
boy. That's my boy.
yeah,
You
she
know?
was always really impressed. Even if it was just something I felt like, even if it was something that I know for a fact that it's just something I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
um, she was really encouraging in that way, right? And if I was stray from that though, she would let me know, like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
this is this is not what I expect, like
Mhm.
what happened here? If
Mhm.
my grades would dip a little bit, she's like, hey, what happened here? She would really be distraught. Like if
Yeah.
if anything was
Yeah.
was was kind of off of that. So yeah, that was one of the things that kept me like kind of on the straight and narrow. I didn't want to disappoint her.
There's nothing more disappointing than having your mother like give you that look that you did something that's just like, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah. You
Or
almost rather she be mad or like yelling
yeah.
at you.
Yeah, I'd rather you just get the belt, B. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even as a
Yeah.
grown man at 50, like I don't want my mother to look at me like I'm just so like, yo, just go get the belt, B. You know what I mean? I'd
You
rather
rather
that.
you rather get a whipping
I'd rather
than
get a whooping as a
you
grown
rather get a
man with
whooping
gray
than
hairs and
you rather
than to have that hangdog look. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's like they don't say words, but they're saying everything. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? At least you I
That's
remember
funny.
when I was younger and I was playing in this basketball tournament and my mother was I just heard somebody screaming on the sidelines and it was my mother, right? I could hear
Mhm.
her every time like, "That's my boy." She done knocked the poor man out of his seat. You know, she done jumped up, waved her hand, knocked the man out of his seat. So as fathers, we need to be that for our daughters. And not only our daughters, our wives,
Right.
our sisters, our cousins, female friends, we need to be more supportive because like we need y'all around. Because for our
That's a fact.
sake.
Yeah, that's a fact. Apparently, they're saving our lives, so we need them
You're
around.
saving our
Yeah.
lives. Yeah, like I said, about 70% of my clients that are men, I don't get hired by men often. I get hired by their wives, their significant others, and they kind of like bully them into it. You know,
Right.
I've had times where I've come to the house and the dude just didn't want me there. You know what I'm saying? And he was and his wife is like sitting there watching him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yo, you gonna do this? Tell him what happened. We went to the doctor's office, and I got my A1C is up, and my cholesterol is up, and he
Right.
said I need to exercise. And tell him what else. This is a true story. Tell him what else. Tell him what else. Um, I'm not gonna do it on my own. So she's, I'm not gonna
That's
get healthy on my
hilarious.
own. So my wife said I need some intervention. So we need you. They take care of us. Good woman takes care of you, man. You live longer.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
a man's lifespan ain't but a minute anyway. So we need every second that we can get. And we
Yeah,
still
we
leave
talked
before
about
they
that.
do all that time taking care of us, and we still
And we
kick it earlier
still
than them.
check out. Yeah, we still check out before them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole nother show.
Yeah, it's a whole nother show. There's an interesting other fact that I saw, and I saw 70% of women now over the age 40 report no interest in dating and prefer to be single.
Mm. It's funny, man. Like I had this conversation. So quick story.
Mhm,
On Friday, I went to the Truist Championship. And it's a golf tournament, a big golf tournament sponsored by Truist Bank, right?
mhm,
So it's the biggest golfers in the world, right? But the point is that, a vendor that my company works with invited me to go to this thing. Right? I never been to a golf tournament. I never watched golf before, really,
mhm,
ever, right? But the point is that part of this experience is just kind of like the people you meet. You go there, meet a bunch of people. There's drinks, there's food, whatever. Like it felt like we watched golf for like a quarter of the time, but most of the time you spend kind of like it's almost a networking opportunity, right?
mhm,
So I I just happened to strike up a conversation with someone there, like a woman that was telling me how hard it is in the dating scene right now. And
mhm,
she said something similar to what you just said, right? And I found it shocking because I haven't been on the dating scene in a long time. I'm like, the way she was talking made me just really glad that I'm married and I
Yeah.
don't, I don't have to worry about this anymore because she said something similar to the stat that you just read, is that she's not interested in dating anymore. She'll just remain single unless some miracle happens or she just happens to meet somebody, but she's not really interested in like actively seeking a partner anymore because of the fact that she's had such bad experiences with the dating scene, right? And she was
Mhm.
40. Um, and I thought that was interesting. But it just you just reminded me of that because that was just on Friday that I had this conversation with somebody and she said something similar and I was just like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
go from now until to so when? So you're elderly, like you're just never gonna date anybody. So I,
Mhm.
I thought that was a little bit interesting. But why do you think that is though? Like she claimed that it's because men are not ready to commit,
Mhm.
even at ages like, in their 40s and 50s even. It
Yeah.
feels like men are not ready to commit, that you just still want to play the field, right? And I found that yeah, I'm like, I found that hard to believe. I listened, and I'm not saying that she's not right in her experience. Maybe that's been her experience, but I found that a little bit kind of surprising, to be honest with you, right? Like that
Mhm.
at that stage, that men are not willing to commit, or they still want to play the field, even in their 40s and 50s with the clock kind of ticking because
On the
you and I
clock
talked about that
ticking.
before, that you're in like your 2/3 life. You're not
Yeah.
that's not midlife. You're
Mhm.
you're hitting the 2/3 mark, and you would think that men would be more kind of serious about and intentional about
There's that word. Mhm.
about dating and about finding like a partner, especially if they're single to begin with. You would think they'd be intentional about finding someone to settle in with.
So that would be those are millennials, right? Yes, that's
So
millennial.
yeah,
That's millennial.
yeah, it's right behind us. So yeah,
It's right
millennial.
behind us. That's millennial. So, um, I was talking about this and I read something about it. So I'm a paraphrase what I read, but
Sure.
I can't remember the article specifically. But just in general, we talked earlier about men's relationships and men not having relationships, and with the dawn of the AOL chat and the internet age, millennial men in general have come up in the Tinder age,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
to speak.
right.
And I
And when
can
you say
see
that, just so the audience understands what we're
oh,
saying, like
the cyber
right, right,
dating,
right. We're saying like the online dating
the
is
online
really is
dating, the
really
cyber dating, the
was really
chat
big.
rooms.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
big
Well, the
for them
chat rooms
coming
were
up.
bigger with us because we were
Sure,
at like the beginning. Like we were big on the
sure.
chat rooms were big with us. But we would go from the chat room and we would actually like really meet and still go out and still go to clubs and still go to lounges and still go and meet people in the frozen food section at the supermarket. You know what I mean? Like we supplemented our dating life with the chat room's life, so to speak. But everything has become so computer based and online based that I can see. And also, what I was reading in this particular article, which I'm paraphrasing because I cannot remember for the life of me exactly where I saw it, but they were talking about how these online dating, the Tinders, the Plenty to Fit, whatever the other ones are, the Bumble, which I met my wife on Bumble actually. Um,
Mm,
they kind of cater to men to put them in a perpetual "I have a shot."
mm.
You get a swipe and it hits those endorphins, and you get a swipe and you just want another swipe and another swipe, and it's just made
Interesting.
so that a man you feel so wanted, that you feel like so wanted by all these women that you feel like you always gonna have a shot at plenty of women and you don't have to even leave because men
That is
we're
interesting,
lazy
man.
by
That's
choice.
interesting.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
I didn't think of it that way, but I understand what you mean. Like it's almost like you have this infinite kind of pool. And
Yes.
obviously you can't date all of them, but it like opens up the field more so that in a way, even though you're not talking to them personally directly, it gives you almost an illusion that there's this large pool to pick
Yes.
from, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before the internet, you had to go out, find a woman, or maybe you met a woman through a friend, or you met through some event or some common interest. But
Mhm.
meeting in person and having to do the work of at least going out and trying to find them, or or them finding you somewhere, you had to be out and about, and it was kind of a little more work involved. You couldn't possibly meet 1,000 women, right? But
Yes.
if you have an app, you could keep swiping. You could
Yes.
keep swiping, and potentially, there's 1,000 to choose from after a while. If you keep swiping enough and you keep just
Yeah.
staying on that app enough,
Yeah.
now your potential is rising exponentially, right? So
Yes.
I never thought of it like that, and that's an interesting thing, because I guess that would lead a man to being motivated to kind of stay single
Yeah.
if he thinks that, or his options are so open, because this app is showing him
Yes.
potentially thousands of women from everywhere that he could
Mhm.
possibly go out with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's willing to, right? If he's
And you're
willing,
like striking out 9 out of 10 swipes. You know what I'm saying? But
that 10th swipe,
that 10th swipe keeps you coming back for more.
it's a
And even
dopamine hit.
it's a
Yeah,
dopamine hit crazy. And now you're out there and you're present. You may be in person on a date with somebody, but you're not present. You know what I mean? Like
right,
you're there,
right.
but you're not really there. You're thinking about, I wonder, did this person, am I, when I come, when I open up after this, is this person, I'm gonna have a shot. Cause that, it's it was so hard. It was so
That
hard.
sounds super addictive too.
It
Like
is.
I never thought of it that way, but that
Yeah.
sounds really addictive. Like that swiping and just being able to open that app and check to see if somebody's interested in you.
Yeah.
That is actually an aspect of it that I never thought of. And maybe, like you said, like generationally, the people that are growing up, or like coming up in an age where that's so common,
Hmm.
that their whole brain has changed around the dating scene, right?
Yeah.
The way their brain works is completely different than it was when we were younger, right? When you didn't have
Yeah.
that opportunity. Yeah, that's
And you don't even have to talk on the phone. Like all it is
yeah,
like
right, right.
text, text,
The
text,
effort,
text, text,
it's
text,
it's it's
text.
the
Yeah.
right, it's the least possible effort with the greatest possible gain. You're getting that possibility in your mind
Hmm.
without the rejection, because you're behind a screen, and even if you get rejected, it's not even as impactful, because it's not like you're
Yeah.
getting rejected in person or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
it's just another face on a screen, right?
Yeah. And you
It's
never quite
interesting.
realize how to like interview, so to speak, because a date is an interview. If you think about it, a date is an interview.
Sure.
So you have that person who's sitting up in an interview that's very awkward and very, confused about what they should say or what they want to say because they don't have much social, physical interaction.
Hmm.
And couple that with the fact that they're always more mature than us. So they're always a couple years
Sure.
ahead of us. Even you could never get in the club. You got 15, 16, 17-year-old girls going to clubs earlier, um, just doing everything before us. Being grown before us, so to speak.
Sure.
So sometimes when you get to that age, especially as a millennial, because you're right kind of on that cusp on depending on your age range, you're close to the Gen X or you're closer to what's the
The
generation after the
Gen
millennial?
Z.
The Gen
Uh,
Z. And you're kind of in this like limbo type of thing where the guys are like, wait a minute. So I can just do nothing here and I don't have to put in the work. But like they want to be engaged. They want to meet somebody to talk to. And then you get this guy that walks up to you that doesn't know. He's totally different than the text messaging that you've been relay. He's probably by now they probably using Chat GPT to have their Chat GPT in their probably conversations. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think there's a social awkwardness that goes into dating now that
right.
like older women are just getting fed up with it. And it's like, you know what? Forget it. I just rather be on my own. If I haven't caught anybody yet.
Well, I hope it's not all the women, because if that's the case, then the human race is
Yo, son.
in trouble. We headed for extinction.
Yeah,
If that's the
yeah.
case,
71% over 40,
yeah. If I hope it doesn't get
that's a
too bad.
large number, man.
because you
You
start to hear
know?
stats, similar stats you start to hear about like the younger generations too, like where they're not as interested in going out anymore because of social
Yeah.
media and because of computer games and,
They don't go to bars as much. The
you
the
know,
the the liquor
COVID.
industry is
Yeah,
down
they're not
because they
going
don't
to,
go out to
but
bars. They
you
don't.
know what I heard about the bar thing though? That they said that the younger generation, not only are they like less likely to be in clubs, but they tend to be more health conscious, to be honest. If
Yeah.
you believe it or not, like they're more concerned with eating healthy and working out and keeping their body, fit.
Mhm.
So drinking is just not a thing that they feel is fitting into their lifestyle right now, right? Like so
Mhm.
it's not just a matter of like their social behaviors, but it's also a matter of their behaviors in terms of like keeping up their health, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I guess it hurts in terms of like their socialization because them not going to clubs or going out to
Mhm.
bars and stuff like that as much is probably going to lower their percentage chances of meeting somebody in that way, right? Um,
Yeah.
so they're gonna have to meet in like in ways that foster like, common interests. They're gonna have
Yeah.
to meet, in the gym. They're gonna have to meet
Mhm.
at CrossFit and whatever else they're gonna be
Yeah.
doing.
Whatever they do, whatever. What do they
Ve-
call them
the
now? The
vegetable
cyber.
cooking class, the vegetable cooking class. I don't know.
the, what do they call them? Is it the cyber libraries or the cyber where they everybody goes sit down, they don't talk to each other, they just all the cyber cafes, everybody goes and they just
Mm,
all sit together at this cafe and they have drinks, but they all just open their laptops and don't talk to anybody sitting next to them or in front of them. Like, it's
I
weird
didn't even
times,
know.
bro.
I didn't know that was a thing.
A
But
cyber cafe.
I knew there was cyber cafes, but the way you're describing it, I didn't
Yeah.
picture it. I never pictured it at all. So the way the way you're picturing it, or you're describing it to me rather, is
Yeah,
surprising.
you can go to a club, and what do they call them? They call them like silent clubs where you're wearing
Oh yeah, yeah,
headphones in the
yeah,
club.
yeah, yeah. Where you're wearing headphones with the
That's
music.
that's crazy, son.
I've done that actually. Like I've done that with my wife though. Like
Mhm.
we've done that. I think we did it on a cruise.
Yeah.
We went to one of those like a silent party,
Mhm.
and you just do you have the music in your headphones. You actually have
Mhm.
a choice of music you could listen to. Um, Well, you can change it on the fly, like, you could change a few different choices, but you're listening to this music. But if you take those headphones off,
It's
it's
silent.
completely quiet and everybody's kinda, like,
Crickets.
just dancing around with their headphones on.
Mhm.
It's interesting. It's a
Yes.
little strange at first, but you kinda get it after a while. I don't know, I can't explain it, but, you get it
You know,
after a
when
while.
you're older and you're like, "Wait, I can control my own volume instead of standing in front of this
Yeah,
speaker."
maybe that's it too, like,
This is woofers.
you could control the volume. Uh,
Yeah.
you can control to a certain extent the music that's being played in your
Mhm.
headphones. So yeah, the ability to control the volume and the type of music is a benefit for sure.
Mhm.
And me at the time that I did this, I was already married, so I guess that was a benefit too. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't dating or trying to find a partner in that atmosphere because I can't even imagine what that would be like. But yeah,
We came up in a time where everyone was always outside in the parks as well. So we always had some type of interactions with the girls when we were younger and the women
mhm,
when so we were always in the park when we were playgrounds, and we would go out in the summer and we'd be outside, and everyone would be congregating, and it's not the same as anymore. So I can
yeah,
see how as you get older you don't have those years of failure.
oh yeah. Because as you described this, I'm like, wow, I was feeling in those
Yes.
years. Like I was,
Yes, there's a lot of crashing and burning, son. You
yeah.
you you
I'm
know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, I was outside, but that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
there's a
everything.
lot of crashing and burning. I took a lot of L's out here in these playgrounds when I was younger. You take a lot of L's growing up back in the days. You just lick your wounds and you just keep going. But imagine if you don't
Yeah.
have to like have that rejection. Like
After a
if
while,
you,
you have a tough skin.
yeah, yeah. So after a while, it's just like, no, all right then.
All right, another
Fine.
no.
Another no. Then you start playing the percentages. Like, all I need is one yes. That's it. I'm just going for one. Just give me one.
That's
But
funny,
imagine you
man.
turn on your mini supercomputer and you have a 10 swiped yeses, and you only have really a chance with maybe one if you're lucky. But
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I don't have anybody in my physical presence telling me get out of here, scram, or looking you up and down. You
Yeah,
could
it's
put
definitely
whatever
a
picture you
different
like.
it definitely changes the game. Like I didn't think of it like quite like that when what you described about the swiping and the number of women that a man might think he has a chance with, right? Like so it makes
Mhm.
him less likely, maybe less likely to commit, right? Like and
Yes.
I didn't even think about that, right? If you have all those choices in your phone that that are
Yeah.
making you believe that you have a chance, then
Yes.
maybe you are going to be less likely to kind of settle in with one person
Mhm.
if there might be more waiting for you on your app, you know?
Yeah.
That is an interesting but kind of a little bit scary thought, you know?
Yeah, I think that contributes to that 71%. And also, like, to be fair, we are men. So to be fair, like, there are also women that are very awkward as well. For a man, it's hard to get a swipe. But for women, like, all you do, you open up and you probably swipe 10 times, you get 10 matches.
Yeah,
Um,
that too, that's a really good point. Like, cause at the
yes.
same time, like you're saying, like men might have their percentage of choice might raise quite a bit online, right, on these
Yeah.
apps. A woman's choice might that has to be like ridiculously crazy numbers,
Oh
right?
my goodness, yes.
Where they probably have a choice of 1,000 men every time they open up that app, there's
Yeah.
1,000 swipes.
Yeah, son.
Yeah,
It's like a billionaire's million compared to a poor person's $5 bill. You know what I'm saying? Which means more?
right,
To a person with nothing, you get $5, it's the world. $5 to a billionaire is nothing. You know what I mean? So
right,
women,
right.
you get 10 swipes, and
Right.
then you may.
I
Mhm,
didn't think about it that way either. Like, so that's it just makes so much sense. So
mhm.
simple that is and I'm missing the point on that, right? Like, cause what but when you think of what the way you're saying it, it's even more scary because when you think about that, women that may be using these apps to meet people, they have so many choices, man. Like, how can they choose one person? Right.
Yes.
So men have no chance of being chosen in that scenario, right?
Mhm,
Because they're always going to be looking for, maybe somebody different, somebody that matches better, a
mhm,
better, some better fit in whatever
mhm.
way, whatever way it might be. But they might be looking for a better fit all the time because they have so many choices.
Yeah.
Wow, man, these apps are really
Yo,
technology is.
technology
I
is.
didn't even think about all the ways that technology is kind of
Mhm.
it serves us, but then it serves us too well, like
Yeah.
it serves us so well that it's negatively impacting us,
Yeah.
because we don't really have to hunt, so to speak, right? Like, you don't have to do
Yeah.
anything. You don't have to put
Yeah.
effort into anything anymore
Yeah.
because the technology is serving you everything in in a number that you could not have imagined or you could not get on your own, right? Everything
Mhm.
is being served to you so easily, including dating,
Yeah.
which is which is
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
scary, and and as a result, it's actually hurting you more than you would think it would help to
Yeah.
like break the ice, and it would help people that have like suffer from any type of social anxiety. Like in a way, I'm sure it does,
Yeah.
but it feels like it's too much of a. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing, and
Yes.
the way you're describing it is like, wow, this might be too much of too much of a good thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
man. It's too many choices on one side and it's not enough choices on the other side. And if you think about it, it's the perfect storm for these dating apps to make money.
yeah. You ever heard of forgot his first name, but Scott and actually Scott Galloway. Have you ever heard of Scott Galloway?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
So Scott Galloway is an economist and he's an entrepreneur. He has his own podcast and he talks a lot on other podcasts, but he tends to talk a lot about kind of the this as a crisis, like the dating issue, and the fact that young people aren't dating enough.
Mhm.
They're not actually social enough in order for the population to maintain itself. Like we need young
Mhm.
people to go out there and be dating a lot more and be settling down and having families and so on and so on and so on. Right. Right. But he talks a lot about the fact that men don't have practice in getting rejected, um, that they
Yeah.
need to develop a tough skin, and he talks a lot about this issue with the technology and the swiping makes it so you don't have to have skin in the game,
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
Um, and you don't have to make the effort and learn how to talk and learn how to
Yeah.
hunt, learn how to sell yourself. And he's saying that it actually leads to another problem, like I guess I shouldn't say different, but like just a separate problem where he thinks that it's leading to young men not doing enough to work on themselves. They're not motivated to kind of make themselves into a man that is kind of worthy of the woman, right?
Yeah.
And it means that they're not willing to kind of like whatever it is, like get fit or whatever the case may be, or they're
Yeah.
not willing to do the work to get a great career anymore because it's not really necessary in order to attract a woman. Because a lot of the things that men do, and I might be overgeneralizing here too, but a lot of things that men do is kind of to attract a mate, like
Yeah.
to
It's our
attract a woman.
plumage. It's our
Yeah, like
plumage. You know what I mean?
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. We're like that bowerbird that makes
The
the really
dance, is
fancy
that the one with
structure.
the
Like they do the dance, they
oh,
make the structure, and the
yeah.
woman comes, and the female bird comes and looks at the structure, and if they make a good enough structure and do good enough dance or whatever it is, oh,
Yes.
they'll pick that bird as the mate. But
Mhm.
for humans, we have like similar ritual where for us, a lot of times men are about dressing nice and looking good and smelling good and making a lot of money or having a nice car, having like the trappings of wealth or seeming to have the trappings of wealth
Mhm.
to attract a mate, right? And he's saying that because of these apps and because of the way technology is and because of kind of like the kind of lack of socialization that this is causing that men are not doing enough to become that that strong mate, that a woman would naturally be attracted to, right? And then
Mhm.
one of the other problems too is that, like you said, on the women's side, they have so many choices that they want every man to be like the 6 foot, six figure, um, you know,
Yeah.
this
There's a
Superman.
checklist sometimes.
Right. There's a checklist
Mhm.
a lot of times, right? And because that app makes you put in your data,
Mhm.
right? They can right away just rule out a whole group of men that
Yeah.
maybe if they met them in person, they would give them a chance, right?
Mhm.
Um, so it kind of limits the pool for guys that are not like 6 foot making six figures
Mhm.
with a six pack. Whereas if they met him at a bar, at a club, or at some place of common interest, like what they call third spaces,
Mhm.
they may have given him a chance just because the guy's clever or he's whatever they think he's funny.
Yeah.
They strike they just have a great conversation or whatever the case may be, or they're attracted to him for some other reason, right? He's saying that a lot of that stuff gets kind of automatically ruled out because the app is forcing you to kind of take your best picture and then check off all these boxes of your interests and who you are,
Mhm.
and you're getting swiped on based on a bunch of stats rather than the
Mhm.
actual person that you show up as,
Yeah.
so that's I find that to just be another interesting aspect of this, right? Like how the technology, like I said, it might be too much of a good thing, but then in some ways it's taken a lot of the intangible factors out of it, right?
Yeah.
Um, some of the things that there's been because there's been women. I'm sure there's been women in your life, and I know like you might not have been their type on paper, right? Like
Yeah.
like I heard that before, and the same vice versa. Like
Mhm.
you might have dated a woman in your life like where on paper, if you just looked at her stats on a sheet or on some computer, you'd be like, nah, this is not my type, right? But when you met in person, something in you, like something clicked, right? And something
Yeah.
about it, like you hit it off, right? But you, like I said, you rule that out if you're really relying on an app to give you all the information you need and a person taking the best picture that they possibly can.
Mhm.
So yeah, you just reminded me of that, like, because I sometimes follow Scott Galloway on and listen to some of the things he says, and that was one of the interesting things, his take on like kind of young people and the dating behaviors.
So it's weird. We're in strange times, man. We're in strange times. So key women, take care of yourself, get healthy, go to the gym.
Yo, so I got a crazy fact, right? Like, and you might notice already, right? Like, and I'm sure that
Mhm.
a lot of people notice already, but when you talk about women's health, like this stands out to me every time, right? And I don't mean this to say that this is women's purpose or this is their like kind of imperative or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
It's just kind of a fact that kind of pokes out at me when we talk about health, right? Did you know that women are born with all the eggs they're ever gonna have?
Yes, they have a finite, not finite. Is finite the word that I'm looking
Finite is the
for?
right. It's the right
Yeah, they have
word
a
because
finite amount of
they're
eggs.
yeah, like they're not
That's
gonna
what
regenerate.
menopause is. Basically, menopause is where they're out of eggs. Like that's a wrap.
Well, yeah, I mean they stop ovulating. They stop like
Yeah.
pushing those eggs out. Like they're not. I don't
Mhm.
know if they're out of it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So,
I don't know about that detail, but I
okay.
know that they're born with all the eggs they're ever gonna have. So
Mhm.
it's interesting because it kind of like puts some urgency on the need for them to stay healthy and to keep them protected. Like I
Mhm.
don't know. It just puts me in a different mindset about like the reverence or something, like, or the sacred nature of the woman because and like
Yes.
I said, like I don't mean to say that that's their purpose is to like carry eggs or like to have children or anything like that or but I do feel like sometimes that gives me like this sense of like, wow, this woman should be protected and women are sacred, right? Like they're holding
Mhm.
that life, you know, like you said, in a finite number from the time
Mhm.
that they're born, right? And it
Mhm.
just an interesting thing to me. Like with men is different. Like, we're producing sperm all the time and
Yeah, we got
um
we got 80-year-old celebrities having babies.
yeah, you have like Al Pacino having
Al Pacino
his
having
80s.
babies at 87. Tony
Yeah, like
Randall was having babies at 79.
yeah, so it's like
You know.
yeah, it's not as scarce, right? Like, but it feels like, something to be protected. Because, like, when we talk about women's health, I think about that fact that they're carrying all the eggs that they'll ever have from the time that they're born is
Mhm.
just like mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's your fun fact if you didn't know.
Yeah, there's always going to be some fun facts in here.
Some fun fact for I'm sure that's just a fun fact for whatever
And
fellas
somebody
we got
fact check
listening
us.
out there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
somebody fact check us on that Jodeci song too. Is Cry for You really about a dad being left home with the kids?
I feel it's about my life, son.
Yeah, somebody fact
I
check
feel
us.
like
Like,
it's about my life right now, son. There's no scarier thing to rants on this world than being left alone with being told, like giving a heads up about it. Like if you just spring it on me, then I just have to deal with it. But if I have to like anticipate it, oh my goodness, son.
yeah,
Jordan Peele meme, yo, the sweaty meme, the
the
sweaty
sweaty
like
meme.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Son, I'm like, oh my gosh. What do you mean just me?
What do you mean you're gonna be gone for an hour?
Yeah, man. That's too long. Come back home, please. Please, I can't live without you.
It makes
Shout out to
sense. It makes
Jodeci, yo.
sense. Yep, it makes sense.
So you got anything else to add, brother?
Nah, man, I'm all
All right.
I'm all fun fact out.
No fun fact out. So this concludes our latest episode of the Gen Expertise podcast. Shout out to our now day 39s, our day ones, and everyone in between. And as usual, and as always, shout out to our day one. In this case, our wives.
Yeah, shout out
And
to
our
our wives.
mothers.
Yeah,
Our
once
wives and our
again,
mothers. Well, our day one is our mothers.
yeah,
And
happy
then our
Mother's Day.
date ones are wives. So happy Mother's Day to everyone out there, especially ours. We love you dearly. They did not put us up to this episode at all. Nah.
Nah,
But man, you know what, right?
because we are prolific.
That is correct. We are prolific, my brother. We will be back same Gen X time, same Gen X place. We'll see you next week. But until then, happy Mother's Day. We love y'all and power to the podcast.
Power to the podcast. Peace.
Peace.